Welcome back. My name is Ali Sharifara, and this video is part of the Introduction in Programming Using Java series. In the last session, we learned how to write and run a Java program. However, we realized that the program that we have written has several issues, as you can see. And in this session, we are going to fix those issues by introducing variables. Basically, variables are names used to hold one or more values, and instead of repeating those values in multiple places in your code, the variable holds the result of a calculation, and we can use them in many places. So this is our program that we have written in the last session, and I'm going to create a new Java class. And after that, we come back to this program and we fix those problems that we have identified in the last session. All right, so I'm going to create a Java class. I name it as variables. And here, I need to create the main function. And we are going to introduce some variables here. There are several ways that we can declare a variable. One way is first we need to write the type, space, and variable name. For example, the type it can be a string, space, name, and name here is the variable name. Another type that we can use is int. For example, a number of fingers is equal, or just we want to declare it. So we have the data type, or type is integer, and this name is the variable name. And the next one is double. Let's call it radius. Okay, so we have created three variables. The first one is name. The second is number of fingers, the type is integer, and radius is double. If you declare variables this way, they do not have a value yet. You need to give them a value at some point later in your code. For instance, I can add a value to radius in this line, for example, 20.231, and I can print this value by just writing the variable name radius. The next one, I can give a value to number of fingers. In this example, I give number 5, and for name, I can give a name to it, for example, Tim. As you see here, there is a difference between name and integer and the double here. For a string, as we learned before, we need to enclose it in double quotes. This is our value for variable name, and we enclosed it in double quotes. But we don't need to do it for integers, which is number of fingers here, and for radius. And we are also able to print the value of any variables that we have declared and we have initialized in the previous lines. So I'm able to print number of fingers as well as name. Let's move this line also down here. Beautiful. All right, so we have declared three variables: name, number of fingers, and radius. And in this line, in these lines, we have initialized those variables. Radius is initialized with this number, 20.231. Number of fingers is initialized with number 5, and name is initialized with Tim. And after that, we have written three print statements, and we are going to print the value of these variables. All right, so let me run this program. Another way of running a program is you can right click uh, any uh, any point in the program, and then choose run variables main. Yeah, we got the result for the values of those variables. We have 20.231, we have 5, and we have team. So this is the first way of declaring variables and using them in the our application or in our program. The second way of declaring a variable is we can use type. As you see here, type is a string. We can write the variable name. In this example is name, and after that we can initialize it in the same line, so we don't have to initialize in another line or different line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this value to here, and then I remove this line. And similarly, I can do it for this variable. It will be number 5. We don't need this line anymore. And also for radius, I can change it to 2231, and we don't need this line. If I run this program, it will get exactly the same result as before. There is no changes in the output. So the output is exactly the same as before. As we have seen here, there are several types in Java that we can use for declaring variables. One of them is a string, another one is integer, another one is double. So initially, you just need to know the correct type for the variables that you need. In this example, I want to have a variable to store values of a string or text. So I need to choose the data type of a string. And if I want to choose, or if I want to use any positive or negative integers, I can use int, or it's integer. And for floating point numbers, we can use double, right? So this is the data type that we can use for if we want to have any floating point values, as we have here. And if there is no any floating point value, we can use integer. And for text also, we can use the strings. So let me write them as a comment here. We have a string, we have integer, and we have double. We also have some other types in Java, but for now we are going to use these 3 types. And also, when we want to let me write here types. And also, when we want to choose a name for our variable, there are some rules that we need to follow. The first one is the variable names should start with the letter, so it can be either uppercase or lowercase. For example, here I cannot choose a name which starts with a number, right? So I cannot use to name or any other numbers. So a variable should start with a letter. It can be either uppercase or lowercase. That is totally fine. So here I can change it to capital N, or I can use lowercase letter n. The second rule is variable names should only include letters, numbers, and underscores. So we cannot use any other symbols. For example, I cannot use parentheses for a name of a variable. I cannot use, for example, the %sign, right? So the variable names should only include letters, numbers, and underscore. Should only include letters, numbers, and underscores. I can use underscore here. For example, I can write here first underscore name. That is totally fine. We can use it, but as we have changed the name here, we also need to change the name of variable to first name. And the third rule is variable names are case sensitive. It means that if we use lowercase letter here, first name, I can create another variable, but it cannot be exactly the same. But if I change F to uppercase letter, it will be treated as a different variable. So it's not the same as this first name here. All right, so the variable names are case sensitive. The next rule is variable names cannot be equal to reserved word. For example, we cannot use double as a variable name. I cannot use, for example, class or for or if or something like public or private. I cannot choose these names. These are reserved words. For instance, I cannot declare any variable with the name of class. You see here, there is the red line here indicates that this is a reserved keyword and we cannot use it. And after you declare a variable, you can use it in the rest of the code. You can use its value, and also you can change its value. So here we have declared three variables. The first name is team, number of fingers, and also the radius, and we print them. And also I would like to update those variables, the value of those variables. For example, I would like to change the radius from 20 to 21.231. And I can print it out after that. So if I run this program, we will see these values here. So it will be the radius, number of fingers, the first name, and after that I have changed it to from 20 to 21, and then I try to print it. Let me run this and we will see these three are expected because we have initialized these variables with these values, and after that I have updated or I have changed the value of radius to something else, and after that I try to print it. All right, so in this line, or we can say that setting or changing the value of a variable is called assignment. In this line, we are assigning this value 21.231. We are assigning it to radius. And in this line, we are doing declaration and assignment in single line. We are doing declaration. We are declaring one variable, and then we have assigned this value team to first name. So as I mentioned before, there are two ways to declare a variable. We can declare it and after that we can assign a new value, or we can do it in the single line. As you see here, we have declared the variable, we have specified the type, and also we have assigned a value to it. Alright, so let me write very small program to use variables. For example, I'm going to create a variable of candies is equal number 5, and then I'm going to print this value. I'm going to print the value of candies, so obviously the value number 5 gets printed, and after that I'm going to change its value. I'm going to update it. This line we are assigning a new value. I'm going to change it to number 10, and then I'm going to print the new value of candies. And after that, I would like to add 10 to the existing value of candies. So if I want to add a value to existing value, I can write this value candies plus 10. Whatever the value of candies is, it will add 10 to it, and then it will assign it to candies. And finally, I'm going to print the new value of candies. So before I execute this this program, the first println prints number 5. Then we have assigned the new value to it, and we are printing number 10 here. So the first println prints number 5, the second one prints number 10, and the third one, since we had number 10 in the candies, we are adding another 10 to it. So it will be 10 plus 10 is 20, and 20 will be assigned to candies, and it will be printed in the console, right? So in the result, we will see 5, 10, and 20. Let me run this function. And as you see, this is the result. We got 5, 10, and 20. Okay, so let me make some changes in this program. So the first point is, once we have declared a variable, we cannot declare it again. So we have declared it in line 6, and I cannot redeclare the same variable. Immediately we get an error here, which we cannot declare it. The variable candies is already defined in the scope. I cannot redeclare it. We can only declare once, and we can use it in the rest of the program. And another point is, if I remove the initial value here and then I try to print it without a value, we also have an error here. We have declared a variable in line 6, and in line 7 we are trying to print that value. The problem here is we have declared the variable, but we haven't assigned any value to it yet, right? So we cannot use that value or that variable until we assign a value. If I assign a value to this, for example, number 5, yeah, the error is gone. We are able to print it. So the first point is, if we want to use any variable in the program, we need to make sure that the variable has a value. We have assigned a value before using that value. In this line 8, we are using value of candies, but we need to make sure that we have assigned any value to it before using it. There is no any difference between declaring in one line and assignment in another line, but I think the best way is we can mix these two lines together. We don't need this line. I just can do the assignment in the same line. All right, so I think we are all ready for returning to the circles problem that we have written in the last session. All right, so in the last session, we have written this program, and what it does, it prints the circumference and the area of a circle. And we know that to calculate the circumference and the area of a circle, we need to have the radius. All right, so we are going to fix it. We have identified that there are several issues with this program. First, we have used these values here 2 times. We have used the radius here. If later, tomorrow, if we want to change this value to another value, we have to change it in 2 places. And the second problem is it's not user-friendly. Even if I want to look at this program later, I will maybe forget what I have done here. There is know any indications about what is actually this program is doing. Alright, so we are going to fix this by introducing a variable here. The variable, since we have floating point, I need to choose data type or the type of double. So the radius is equal to 20231. And after that, I can simply remove this, and instead of this number, I can write radius. And similarly here, I can write radius here as well. Instead of doing this calculation or doing this math in println, I can declare another variable here, double circumference is equal to this value, right? So I assign 2 times pi times radius, and I assign it to circumference. And finally here, I need to declare another variable, that the variable name is area, and it's equal to this part. The math class pi times power of radius power of 2. And after that, I can use circumference in the first println, and for the second one, I can use area. We have declaration and assignments in these 3 lines, in the first 3 lines of the main function. We have declared the variable like radius, and we have assigned the value in the same line. Here, each declaration line is also an assignment. All right, so I think the program is more readable and is more user-friendly than before, but still we have an issue here. The problem is we have hard-coded the radius, so it only works. So let me run this, and we get exactly the same result as before. But the problem is we are using hard-coded radius here, and if we want to change it, every time we need to open our IDE, and then we need to update the radius to see the result for circumference and area. So the main problem here is the radius is hard-coded, and a user needs to be a programmer to every time to change this value. And we cannot use this program without changing the program. So the solution for this issue is we want to allow user to enter a radius value as an input. So we want to get the radius as an input from user. So user is able to enter a different number every time to get the circumference and area of the circle. So we are going to make some changes in this program. First of all, we need to import a scanner package. So I'm going to write here import java.util.scanner. So this is the first change that we need to make, and the first line after the main function, or in our main function, we need to write a scanner, and we need to create one variable from a scanner. We need to write new scanner system.in. Right, so we do it once if we want to get input from user, or you can change it to any name, for example input. And after that, we want to print on the screen, we want to ask user, please enter the radius. please enter the radius. And in this line, since we know that the user is going to enter a floating point number, we need to choose a data type or the type as double, and the name is radius is equal to input dot views next double. And we don't need this radius variable anymore because we have declared it here. All right, so let's review what we have done here. The first change that we need to do is we need to make is first we need to import this line, import java.util scanner, and the next line after the main function we need to write a scanner space input. This is a variable name, you can choose any name, but you should choose a meaningful name or meaningful variable name. Here I choose input and it's equal to a scanner system.in. And after that we want to prompt to a user to enter the radius, and the following line after println we need to get that input from user, and we are able to calculate the circumference and area of a circle dynamically every time user can enter a different number. So the import line, the scanner object, and also another changes that we can make here, instead of println I can use printf, right? So println, it actually prints a value in the console and it goes to the next line, the cursor goes to the next line, but we don't want to go to the next line. In the same line I want to get the input from user. So these are the changes that we have made. First the import line, and then the scanner object, and system.out printf instead of println. Previously we used println, and this time we are going to use printf, and f here stands for format, print format or printf. And also the scanner object allows us to obtain user input. This object here, so we will be talking about objects in upcoming sessions, but we have created one object from a scanner class. And one more thing about printf, printf method is a more powerful version of the system.out.println method, and one difference is that system.out.println always prints a new line at the end, whereas system.out.printf does not. All right, so let's run our program. Here is printing, please enter the radius. So the this program is waiting for a user to enter the radius, right? So to enter a double or enter a value, and this time I can enter, for example, number 12, and I need to press enter. And after that I can see that we have the first one is the radius, sorry, the first one is the circumference, and the next one is the area of the circle. And as you see here, this output is not really clear what is the first value and what is the second value. So how we can fix it? The problem actually here, the output is just numbers. We don't know what is this number, we don't know what is the second, what is 452, what is 75 here. The way that we can fix is to add some a string here or some text here to let the user know that we are going to print the circumference or the area. So what I'm going to write here, I'm going to write the circumference is, and I use %f and \n, and after that comma circumference. And I need to change println to printf. We are not going to use println anymore. And I need to do the same, so I change println to printf, and here the area is %f \n comma area. All right, so let me close this part. So let me talk about what we have changed here. I have changed println to printf, so this is print formatting. We can add formatting here, and the formatting here we use %f here. So this %f is a placeholder and for circumference. So the value of circumference will be replaced with %f. We have some other placeholders that we will be talking about those later, but for now, since we are going to print a double, we need to use %f, and similarly we have done here %f, and we have added the list of parameters, which we have only one, which is area, and also \n. Since we are using printf does not print a new line after printing, so we can do it manually here by adding \n. So if we add \n here, the print function prints a new line after printing this text here. The circumference is %f. The value of circumference will be replaced with %f, and the next line, the area, is %f, and the value of area will be replaced with this. So we can use these placeholders in printf. All right, so let me run this program one more time, and we can see we have much better results. So let me enter, for example, number 23, and here we go. We have a very nice message or a text that is very clear that the circumference is this number and the area is this number. And also we can add some more messages here. For example, the radius of, we can write that number, so let me write it here. The circumference is the for radius, and I can use another %f, and it will be matched with the order of these values here. So the circumference will be replaced with this %f, and I need to add comma, then I can write radius. So the radius will be replaced with this value for %f, and similarly I can do it for the second printf statement. The area is %f for radius %f, and I can add the radius here. All right, so let me run this program one more time, and we can see the result. Let me, this time I enter 23, and here you go. The circumference is 144 for radius 23, and the area is 1661 for the radius 23 as well. All right, so here we have seen that we have used this placeholder, and also they call it also format specifiers. We have different format specifiers. Here we wanted to print floating point values. We use %f. We could use %d for values of type integer, and we can use %s for values of type string. And we will see a few more format specifiers in the upcoming sessions, but for now let me add them as a comment here. We have we can use %d for integers. We can use %f for floating point values or for double values, and we can use %s for the values of type string. All right, that's it for today. We have to recap. We have talked about format specifiers a little bit, and in the next session, I'm going to explain more about different format specifiers, and we are going to use it in our program. We learned how to declare a variable, how to assign a value to a variable, how to use it in our program, and also we use about printf, which is a different version of printing function. But this is more powerful. We are able to use format specifiers in printf. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.